All right, Alien, thanks for being here. You just got off the VC on Telegram, and I want to make sure that those who have not had an opportunity to be on the VC know exactly what's going on in the Cliff community. So, will you please give us a little bit of a recap of what you covered?
Hey, yeah, first of all, thanks for having me.
Anytime.
And yeah, we did tackle mainly an update as it pertains to the swap that we will be developing. So, although the preliminary ETA on the swap was around 1 to 2 months, it's going to take a little bit of time to build, more than anticipated. So, initially, we were looking at the swap to go live by July. Now
Hmm.
we're talking about a December release. The reason for that is that security is paramount when you release a product such as a swap. So basically, the 2 additional months will be used to work on security features, security measures to make sure that the product is up to the highest standards of professionalism, uh, especially when it comes to security. And then we did tackle a general AMA with the community, what lies ahead in regards to the project. And the main idea I wanted to communicate was that right now the full focus is on the swap. So it's laser focus on developing an innovative swap. And then after that is done, we will tackle the issue of the upcoming NFT drop. And then, yeah, we'll go from there. Now, regarding the swap, it's looking really bullish. So, let's say we want to trade right now on Uniswap. What happens is that whenever we trade a tax token that involves taxes that are sent to marketing wallets, developer wallets, all of that, basically the contract transfers tokens
Hmm.
to the wallets, let's say marketing or dev, and then sells them on the chart to convert them to ETH so that the developers can get their fees, the marketing budget, all of that. With CliffSwap, and here, this is the basic idea of it because the my friend and co-founder on Cliff, Budash, he's the one working on the technical end of things.
Hmm.
But my understanding of it is that the whole process will be will not involve the chart, so that the marketing, the development wallets would get their ETH in ETH directly without being converted to tokens, then being sold, thereby pulling the chart down. So once that concept is fully developed and out, it will encourage a lot of developers who specifically develop tax-based tokens.
Hmm.
It will give them an incentive to release their products and tokens on our upcoming swap. And yeah, it's working well, and it is somewhat consistent of the vision that we have for Cliff now, which is just provide the best value for investors we can. Because as you know, when Cliff had its initial run and and all the crazy hype combined with a peak of a bull run, it went to unprecedented heights. It pretty much blew the competition out of the water. But when the hype was gone, you gotta have a certain backbone. So that's why we're fully focusing on developing the swap, then developing an NFT series that will be as good, if not better, than Board Cliffs, and then we'll go from there.
Okay, so just for the audience, you're saying
Right.
one, we should expect the swap in September 2022. Is this correct?
This is correct.
All right, and then secondarily, regarding the NFTs, you're going to can is there a date by which we should expect a supplement for the board cliff?
No, because we don't want to rush it. So as soon
Sure.
as the work on the swap is done, the NFT series will be its own project. If we were gonna rush things, we can probably get something done in a week, but we don't want that.
Right. Right. So this will happen. Um, there will be something to replace the board cliff. So that's definite. The
Yes, it
swap.
it is it
Mhm.
is the front runner idea as of
Okay.
now. Now in the chat with the community, there were a lot of ideas suggested, such as maybe airdropping red tokens to the people who have board cliff NFTs. But then that would devalue the red token, and it would, because the supply right now is earned through staking, and we don't want to devalue the process.
Right.
But like I said in the voice chat, every idea that makes sense is on the table. But the front runner idea is replacing board cliffs with placeholder mystery boxes that will kind of uh, that will be again like placeholder until the new NFT series are developed. And as it happens right now, free mints are the meta. So like I could take I could take a look at Goblin Town and what they've been doing. It was nothing short of tremendous how that series popped off, and it was a free mint. So all board cliff holders will have access to a free mint of a new NFT series. The concept is not developed. The artists have not been picked yet, and we want to take our time with this thing to ensure the best value for the investors who invested in board cliffs. Actually,
That's
can you edit some parts?
we're actually live. We're live, so you can amend what you said, and I will absolutely make
Oh,
sure that we're
cool.
clear. We are literally streaming live right now
Oh,
on
that's cool.
YouTube. Yeah.
That's cool. That's cool. Yeah,
So if there's
because
any
I
retraction you
like
want to
to
make
be
it.
very careful with
Yeah.
with, with my words. So when you talk about, like, especially as I understood, because we all, like, it's a process for everyone. So instead of the term investing, I would say supporting, because investing would probably involve securities and all that ballpark. So yeah. So again, I would rephrase what I said as the people who supported Port Cliffs, because at the end of the day, it was a series that was released as pretty much a cool looking series about clout and about just making it pop off. So again, I digress now, but back to the original point. Yeah, we want to make the new mint. We want to make it into something big, and that is why we are taking the time with it instead of rushing something that might not be up to the standards of the investors and the supporters.
Hmm. So let's talk about red. What's happening there?
Red, again, if we study the market right now, the meme coin end of the pool is not doing that well. So, although Red has an amazing concept, but we are concerned that if we launch it right now, the chart might not look so great. So, there will be huge volume at the start, and then the price would probably drop down. And we don't want that. We want Red to be a highly successful launch. So, for the time being, it's being put on the back burner. But then again, Red will be released, so it's a great opportunity for Cliff supporters to keep staking their Cliff bags, pretty much print free red tokens on the daily until there is a launch window for red.
And if you just had to ballpark it, should we be looking for red in 2022, or will it be a longer term project?
I can't say for sure for now. We'll see how the market goes.
Makes sense. Makes sense.
Because Cliff and even Red, they're deeply rooted in meme culture. So if the meme market is not doing that well, we're not going to release something for the sake of releasing it. We want it to be a highly successful project that people are happy about, supporters are happy about, and it has an added value. So also that time that is uh, that is being spent on the delay, it allows Budash to develop more ideas as it
Hmm.
pertains to Red. So it's a win-win. The supporters get to stake and earn more Red. We wait for a market uptrend whenever that happens, altcoin into a meme coin season. And yeah, the concept itself of Red will probably add fresh things to it. So whichever way we cut it, I think it's the better decision than not to be hasty about Trent. But yeah,
Now,
it will release for sure.
now, obviously, Aileen, as you know, I'm very appreciative to have you on, and I'm pushing back because I want to make sure that I am being fair to the listeners, to those of us who may not be such diehards or day one, week one investors. Tell me, what do you think is the negative, or how are you helping to, I don't know, mitigate the challenges that come with giving out so much red as we just stake and stake and stake and earn red? What does that do to dilute the red and bread's capacity and capability?
No, all of this was sort of foreseen. So
Hmm.
uh, the staking, so there is a staking mechanism. The current one is either for 1 or 2 years. I'll have to double check with my partner Budash, because again he works on the technical end of things. But then again, for Red, there's another staking mechanism set for 5 years once we release it. So we
Wow.
feel as though the way to earn Red is pretty much by diamond handing and staking Cliff. And who better than the core community is better than these people to entrust them with the red supply. So good on every red staker to take as much as supply as they can because they earned it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Can't disagree with that. Let me thanks, Dave. I appreciate that, Dave. You're the man. Let me ask you this. What
He is.
did you Yeah, he
He
is.
is.
What did you cover earlier that you think is most important to cover here before I ask you a couple questions and potentially take a couple questions from folks that are lining up? It looks like we have quite a few people who are here right now watching this conversation live on YouTube, and I want to make sure that if there's a couple lingering questions that you can answer, that we do take those.
Right. So the main two updates were regarding the swap, and then through the Q&A, we did tackle the board cliff future. So I guess we pretty much covered it all. So if you have any questions, please go ahead.
Well, I guess for me, uh, let's talk about the burn. That's always
Right.
of interest to me. So there was a huge burn. There hadn't been a burn in a while,
Yeah.
and then there was a massive burn yesterday.
Hmm.
Right. So walk us through that.
It's consistent with what the tokenomics were set out to do from day one, which is to protect investors. So at this low market cap, we've had a sell off of 7.64 ETH, which is 0.36% of the supply. And probably investors wouldn't be too happy about that, seeing a huge chunk of the supply just sold point blank like this. So thanks to the innovative tokenomics of Cliff, on the spot, we bought back and burnt 4.3% of this, 0.43% of the supply, if I'm not mistaken, worth $17,000 on the spot. So the chart was right back to where it was, and that is the purpose of these tokenomics and buy and burn mechanism in the first place. It's to protect the supporters of the project.
Absolutely. So, with that in mind, can you, again, I recognize some of this is maybe proprietary information, but can you walk us through the thought process that says sometimes we burn and sometimes we hold? Why burn yesterday? Why hold for a long period of time?
Because through that period of time where we did not do any buys and burns, the liquidity was accumulating
Right.
through the taxes, which are right now 11% when you buy and 15% when you sell. So most of these taxes go into the liquidity pool. Once they're in the liquidity pool and they're accumulating, we could use these amounts to actually support the chart. So the point I'm trying to make is that we wouldn't have been able to do the buy and burn we did yesterday if we had not abstained from these buys and burns for quite a while, so we can so that the liquidity can fill up through trading volume, which would allow us to support the price when it goes down. So, and as we pick up, as the trading volume picks up, it's gonna be more like what happened during the early Cliff days. So it will be buys and burns on the upside, not on the downside, which would send the chart into a parabolic state. But for the time being, no talks of parabolas, no hype, no nothing, just keeping it real, focusing on the swap. We do the swap, then we tackle the board Cliff solution, and then we'll see where we go from there.
All right. So, unless you have something else, the last question I have for you is, can you describe in whatever detail is comfortable for you what you anticipate the impact of the swap to have on the burn?
Right. That's a great question.
Thank you.
Although the swap will be operationally independent from the Cliff token, however, parts of the revenue that will be generated by the swap will directly go into buying and burning more Cliff, therefore supporting the price and driving it up.
And is there a specific percentage that you anticipate being fed into the Cliff project?
It's everything is kind of ballpark figures, flexible, but we're looking into somewhere between 15 and 25%. The other 75% would go into overall project development. But there's always room, so we adapt. There's nothing set in stone because the swap is supported by Cliff. It was bought and developed by the Cliff marketing wallet. So sometimes we might take, I don't know, maybe 10%, but other times if we see fit, we could put 40% of the revenue into the buys and burns. So it's all very flexible, but ballpark figure would be between 15 to 25% just as a baseline.
And what other development will that be? Does that mean that Cliff will get back to its roots in terms of investing in crypto projects and other things and get back to its kind of hedge fund roots, or what?
Again, because like right now, as our approach is kind of laser focused on the swap,
Hmm.
it would this would be more a matter of speculation. So the way I look at it is, let's get the swap done.
Right.
Let's work on it being adopted by devs. Let's work on it generating significant revenue and having an added value of its own, and then we'll go from there. But definitely, Cliff, all the Cliffsters and Cliff supporters will benefit from buys and burns directly funded by the swap's revenue.
Hmm.
And in terms of future development, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it. But definitely, like going back to the roots is an option. Uh, uh, Kind of focusing on more utilities is an option. Like I like to say, like every idea that makes sense is on the table.
Okay. What do you anticipate? I'm sure that this factored into your decision making.
Right.
What do you anticipate can be monthly revenue for a swap of this nature? So when we say, 20% ballpark, 20% of what figure are you accounting for, and how long will it take to achieve kind of maximum income or maximum revenue?
Right. So I'll start at the end. The estimated time to achieve the desired, like the optimal amount, would be something like 18 months, and the revenue will be growing. So
Hmm.
probably maybe at first the entire revenue might be 10K, in which case we might allocate more into the buys and burns.
Sure.
But also, how we look at it is that, okay, we built the swap. What next? It will be a matter of business development and encouraging adoption by developers, because developers are our target group. If they recognize the value of releasing their tokens on the swap, that actually helps their chart pump, does not make the chart suffer due to contract sales, they'll probably adopt the swap. And
Hmm.
then the investor base would follow. So, for example, uh, because Cliff is on ERC20, I'll give ERC20 as a reference. Do we all trade on Uniswap because we love Uniswap, or because the tokens that we want to buy happen to be on it? Is
The latter,
most
for sure.
probably the latter. So if we
For sure.
can grow the adoption of our swap and propagate it among the developers, the investors and the kind of the adoption from the end users will come by itself, and it will be a gradual process. So adoption starts small and grows bigger with time. So uh, and this is how kind of utility based uh, projects kind of work. So when you talk about something hype, it goes parabolic at first, but when the hype gets weaker, everything goes down. And we've seen
Sure.
it in the meme coin market all over the place, including Cliff. With when you talk utility, it's the other way around. It starts almost dead from nothing. Adoption starts increasing in baby steps, and then it goes parabolic. And that's kind of what we're going for to counterbalance the meme aspect of Cliff.
Hmm.
And then when the swap is released, we'll discuss with the community other prospects for Cliff. But yeah, for the time being, full focus on the swap. Let's get the swap done, and we'll take it from there.
Now, I know you said full focus on the swap, but we have a couple questions from the audience,
Yeah,
so let's be patient.
absolutely.
All right.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
ISCO 101 says, what's happening with the 10,000 NFTs? I'm guessing he's talking about the Red Room NFTs.
There was a planned NFT airdrop to the first 10K holders who invested in Cliff and supported the project, right?
Right.
And there was also the Board Cliff NFT series. So then we released the Board Cliff. It was tremendously successful, but then it got taken down, and unfortunately, it's not looking like it's gonna come back. So back to an earlier point that I raised, we're going now forward with the mystery box solution, airdrop, like minting of a new NFT series that will be as good, if not better, than the Board Cliffs, and we try to push it as hard as we can. And then after all this process is done, we can then talk about the 10K. But this is why I'm I'm kind of keeping it like, and the whole team is just focusing on one component at a time, because we we did for a while to add value to the project. Every single week we would come out to an update. But when you're working on 1,000 things at the same time, you either gonna have to settle for smaller ideas or not work the ideas properly.
Makes sense.
So that's why we kind of focus on one thing at a time. We adapt, and right now we see that the best uh, course of action is to just focus on the swap. I know that a lot of people are looking forward to the 10K drop. A lot of people are looking forward to red, but I think it's a little too early to talk about that.
Okay.
And then when we talk about that, we usually do it on the voice chats with the community as a dialogue, not as something that myself, Budash, Peyote, anyone has to announce. It's a two-way street.
That's
So when
fair.
it comes to the 10K drop red, it's more of a discussion. When it comes to the swap, it's more like this is what we're developing.
Extremely fair. Dave says, I don't know if you're reading the comments there, Alien, but Dave says that he thinks that once Flash is launched, that Cliff could use it to acquire NFTs for the portfolio. What do you say about that?
Wait a second. Right. I think that once Flash is launched, the Cliff could use it to acquire NFTs for the portfolio. Yeah, that's a good idea.
You're the man, Dave. All
Yeah.
right. Let's see. We got Concrete Stepper. He's happy to see you.
Yeah.
We're all happy to see you. Glad to know you are well.
Likewise.
Will the Cliff swap be competing with the Neko swap?
This is a great question. So, just to give a baseline regarding what the Cliff swap, and here we're using Cliff swap as a placeholder name. It's not going to be called Cliff swap, but to simplify the discussion, we'll just call it Cliff swap. So when we talk about Cliff swap, it is comparable to something like Uniswap, right? When we talk about the Neko swap, we're talking more about something along the lines of MetaMask that has a swap function to it, but it's two different ends of the pool. So it's Uniswap versus MetaMask. You can use both.
Right. Right. Got it. Got it. I don't think we have other questions as much as just one more comment. Cliff is a Neko affiliate. Do you want to so you said some things before, and I just want to make sure for the record, if there's anything that you'd like to clear up or reiterate, make sure that you're saying something specific that people won't misinterpret. Please take this time to do so, just so that no one is misquoting you.
Right. Any because I don't recall any particular instance. Is there anything that was a little bit ambiguous or open to interpretations so that I
Well,
can?
Alien, all I remember, to be honest, because I wasn't writing down what you said at the time,
Right.
is that there at some point you asked whether or not we could edit, and I was saying that we were live.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, it's very sensible of you to to anticipate my thought and put it into writing as people are seeing this discussion, is that none of this is actually investment advice. All this
Yeah.
is for entertain. I'm literally quoting what you said.
Yeah.
But in the business, in the meme coin
Yeah.
sphere, we tend to kind of liberally use the word investors, but that would entail a different kind of products, like securities, like all of that mumbo jumbo that I personally am not much into its details. But yeah, when we talk about meme coins, we talk about communities, support. None of this is actual financial or investment advice. And again, I'm quoting you because you put the nail on its head. But sometimes we kind of liberally use these terms. But yeah, I just want to make sure that none of this is misinterpreted as investment advice. Again,
Fully agree. We're just talking, just two guys having a conversation. So
absolutely.
yeah. But thanks, Alien. For those of you listening, Alien has agreed to be a regular contributor to Crypto News Network. So if you like what you've heard, we may not be able to at first consistently find a day that every week you can expect to hear from Alien, but Alien will be a regular contributor. He has his own segment, so I will try to roll all the Cliff news into a day on the segment in which we have aliens so that we can both discuss the updates and get some questions answered from someone who has way more information than I. But thank you for joining us from the community. And Alien, thank you for being here. And we will talk to you again very soon.
Yeah, thank you, buddy. And one more thing, I really wish, but I don't have any more information or knowledge or anything. Like we're all learning. We're all learning as we go. So it's been a pleasure being part of this Cliff community. And yeah, I look forward to the future. Always good talking to you. Let's do this anytime. Cheers.
Take care.